Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
Robert Jenrick, that is very clear. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning.
7:35, still to come on Good Morning Britain. If a young person in your family is about to head off travelling this summer...
Oh dear.
Hello, all you lovely people. And as the political landscape continues to shift, politicians on all sides, especially Reform UK PLC, are learning that breakfast television is no longer a soft touch, but a minefield of lev accountability. What are we doing? What are we actually reporting on today? Did Parliament collapse? Did the economy finally vaporize into thin air? No. I'm doing a piece on Good Morning Britain that went out on the morning of Wednesday, the 22nd of July, on Susanna Reid having a Barney with the knob known as Honest Bob. That's top-tier journalism today, is it? Analysing breakfast TV drama like it's the Treaty of Versailles. So, if you missed it because you were either at work or actively trying to preserve your sanity, Susanna Reid and Ed Balls were interviewing a politician on ITV. And within 4 minutes, the entire thing descended into the usual morning television Hunger Games. Honest Bob accuses Susanna of lying or smearing them, which Susanna snaps back with the righteous indignation of a primary school headmistress. Don't make a false accusation against me. Waving her finger around indignantly. Don't you dare. I am a respected broadcast journalist sitting next to a former shadow chancellor who once tweeted his own name. How dare you?
Well, good morning. Look, I think it is an absolute disgrace that we're in this situation as a country due to failure after failure by both the last Conservative government and now by this Labour one. Neither have taken forward to building of prisons fast enough, so we have far too few prison places. Neither were prepared to take the difficult decisions like leaving the ECHR in order to get the thousands of foreign national offenders out of our jails. And neither were prepared to do the steps that were necessary to get the backlog of cases before our courts down without doing destructive things like scrapping jury trials, which are completely unnecessary. And now we find ourselves in this situation where almost 9,000 victims have been informed that their perpetrators, some of whom are rapists, paedophiles, and actual killers like these individuals now are likely to be freed, having served a pitifully short sentence. I'm afraid nothing exemplifies the failure of the British state and our politics more than this.
And of course, you must accept some responsibility, don't you, as a former government minister? I mean, when you criticise the former Conservative government, that was a government of which you were a minister in the Home Office responsible, the Home Office, of course, responsible for policing. Do you feel a sense of shame?
I'm not here to defend those policies. I think they were absolute chronic failures. I wasn't a minister actually in the Ministry of Justice, which is the department responsible for this. So I never had any responsibility for this, but I'm not here to defend that. Ultimately, I resigned from the last Conservative government because of its failures and I campaigned against it and then I left it. And the point of reform is that it wants to do things very, very differently. We're going to build more prison places. We're going to get the foreign offenders out of this country, principally by leaving the human rights treaties that
okay,
make
you've
it
explained
difficult to do
that.
so,
You've explained
by
that
putting pressure on the countries from which these people came from.
Okay, I understand. And you are critical of the former government, but you were a minister in the former government. Can you explain how that government got us to a situation where we do not have enough prison places? That is the bottom line here, isn't it? We do not have enough prison places. Why not? Why weren't they built under the government of which you were a part?
Well, it's not the whole of the story, actually, but it is an important component. The last Conservative government did not devote enough resources to this issue. They set to build some more prisons, and they did build some, but not nearly enough. They closed a whole load of Victorian jails before the new ones were open, out of concern for the welfare of the prisoners. I mean, what a sick joke that was, to say that they didn't want prisoners in grotty old jails, but they were happy for having them walking the streets and endangering the people of this country. Rapists and paedophiles were talking about here. Frankly, I couldn't care if they're in a grotty old jail. I want them off the streets. But I wouldn't absolve this government of responsibility, as you seem to be doing. They've now been in office for 2 years.
Since when did I absolve this? Sorry, Mr. Jenrick. When did I absolve this government of... No, but don't make a criticism of me that is untrue. When have I absolved this government of responsibility for this?
Because most of this conversation has been about the past rather than the present. And what we've just seen is a video...
Because you are part of the past government. That's why.
Well, Well, actually, I had no responsibility. I had no
interview people
responsibility for
all
what
the time
happened, and I
about this early
resigned.
release scheme, and I would say that our viewers are extremely critical of this scheme. What I'm asking you is the responsibility of the previous government, which has got us here, of which you were
Well,
part.
I could not have been clearer about that. I said that it was an utter disgrace, and it's one of the many reasons why there should never be another Conservative government ever again.
But don't
look,
make a
what you
false
just showed is a
accusation
video.
against me.
And then, and this is the absolute masterpiece of modern British political discourse, the interview ends. The guest, one honest Bob, thinks his mic is off. But of course, it isn't, because it's live television and he's too thick to realise. He then mutters under his breath, "Well, that was a complete waste of time. Bravo. Shakespeare couldn't write it." Politician goes on Good Morning Britain and is shocked, absolutely bewildered, to discover that both he and Good Morning Britain are a waste of time. What were you expecting? It's Good Morning Britain, not CPAC. You didn't walk into the Oxford Union, Bob. You walked on to a brightly lit ITV set squeezed between a competition for a 50 grand camper van and an advert for joint pain supplements. What did you think was going to happen? A polite, nuanced breakdown of fiscal policy over a croissant. Every single morning in this country, the same ritual takes place. A politician agrees to go on breakfast TV. Why? Because they want 3 minutes of free airtime to recite 5 pre-approved sound bites provided by a 24-year-old special advisor named Barnaby Ponsonby Smythe. They turn up at 6:45 a.m. smelling of spray tan and Lynx, full of panic, ready to announce their new 5-point plan for national recovery. But the presenters don't want to talk about the 5-point plan. Susanna Reid doesn't care about page 14 of your policy, white paper written with the aid of ChatGPT. Susanna Reid wants a headline. She wants blood on the desk by 7:15 a.m. so Twitter can spend the rest of the morning debating whether she's a heroic defender of truth or an agent of the deep state. And then, honest Bob, 12 grand, cheap, half the price, gets defensive and clutches his pearls. You're misrepresenting me. That's a false accusation. No, it's not a false accusation. It's a clinch. It's political mud wrestling. Ed Balls is in the corner tag teaming with a clipboard. Susanna is landing verbal body blows. And Bob the Captain Black look-alike is sitting there wondering why nobody is listening to his mouth farts on immigration and the culture wars. The failed ex-Tory throws his toys out of the pram and calls it a waste of time after being told he was a part of the very government that caused the problem.
You the right to just talk about events concerning you in recent weeks. I don't think you've been on our programme since it's been reported that the Met Police are investigating a donation to you back in 2024, and whether that was a donation in fact made by an American business person, and the fact that you were reportedly warned a number of times that this was a breach of electoral law, hence this police investigation. What is the status of that police investigation? Are you cooperating? What do you think the outcome will be? And when will you know that stain on your reputation has been lifted?
Well, there's no stain on my reputation. This is a complete smear that's been put about by the Tory party. They recommended a donor to me back in the day. I did all of the checks on him, and now there's a suggestion that it may not be somebody from the UK. I've not been contacted by the police at all, and so as far as I'm aware, there is no investigation into my affairs. I'm absolutely convinced that if there is, I'll be found innocent. But look, there's a reason why the media, the establishment are chucking things at reform. It's because reform represents change. Nigel, reform. Nigel, reform. This is the way to turn our country around. And the two old parties, Tory and Labour, and some of their acolytes in the media will do everything they can to stop that change from happening. And the topic we've been discussing today is exactly one of those areas where reform is going to bring a big change. We'll get those foreign offenders out of our prisons. We'll keep the British people safe. I wasn't making allegations, though. I was just asking you a question. And I understand what you're saying. But reform and you are not above the law, are you? If the police investigate, then that is their duty. And if you were found to have done something wrong, that would be right and proper, wouldn't it? Well, of course, but they're not. The police have been clear that they are not investigating me. So I'm not sure what more I can add to that. But the reason why people are chucking all these things at myself, at Nigel, other members of Reform, is because we're leading the opinion polls, despite the fact that Keir Starmer is gone and you've got Andy Burnham as Prime Minister, and we represent the big change that the country actually needs. Look what Andy Burnham's done in the last few days. Next to nothing, going an inch when you need to go a mile. People do not want more of the same. They don't want a cabinet just full of your old friends, Ed, from the Brown Eye era. They want a cabinet full of people who are actually determined to turn this country around, do something different.
So just to establish, you understand there is no Metropolitan Police investigation, but you have not had contact directly with the police?
I've had no contact with the police whatsoever, no.
So the reports that Metropolitan Police have launched an investigation, you know that to be false, do you?
Well, I've had no contact from them, so I don't know any more than you do in that respect.
You said a moment ago there wasn't an investigation, but the truth is you're not sure.
As far as I understand, but I only heard from the press because the police haven't contacted me. The Electoral Commission has passed them a file regarding a donation, and they may be looking into that, but I've had no contact.
Robert Jenrick, that is very clear. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning.
7:35, still to come on Good Morning Britain. If a young person in your family is about to head off travelling this summer...
Oh dear. I think it wasn't a waste of time. I think Robert Jenrick gave us very clear answers, and on the police investigation, it's not a waste of time for him to make clear that he believes there's no police investigation. So, it was good he came on the programme.
Of course, it's a waste of time, a waste of the viewer's time, having to hear Honest Bob trotting out the same old Reform talking points and having him repeat the immortal line of Nigel says, just as the failed ex-Tory reject is about to storm off, hoping to get his mic drop moment. We hear we'll get back to the crisis in public services right after this break. But first, do you want to win a hot tub? Text MOIST to A4222 or call in on 0800-121-121. How are you supposed to conduct high-stakes political scrutiny when instead of an actual interview, you end up asking questions to the equivalent of a broken speak, your weight machine? And the clincher here is the sheer, unadulterated, glorious clincher of a politician complaining about someone making false accusations. Oh, I'm sorry, Honest Bob, old chap. Did someone put a spin on your words? Did someone take a snippet of what you said, strip out the context, and weaponize it for instant dramatic effect? Welcome to our world. That's what political parties, especially Reform, have been doing to the electorate for the last couple of decades. You spend 6 months putting out campaign leaflets that look like ransom notes, claiming the opposition is going to personally ban Sunday roasts and tax breathing. The moment a morning TV presenter asks you a direct question about your own record, you fold like a deck chair in a gale and cry, false accusation. And then there was the hot mic moment. Oh, the hot mic moment. That was a waste of time. Do you know why he said it? Because he didn't get to say the prepared lines that Nigel had told him to recite. That's what our Honest Bob means when he says an interview was waste of time. It doesn't mean the public didn't get information. It means he didn't get to read out his carefully prepared Reform UK PLC propaganda because he got called out. I came here to deliver 3 talking points about border security and my favourite subject, immigration, and instead I was actually asked questions. Unfair. Ambushed by accountability. Meanwhile, Ed Balls sits there, snapping back live on air. I don't think it was a waste of time at all. Well, of course you don't, Ed. You got 3 minutes of clip-worthy television that will generate 400 articles in the Mail Online by lunchtime. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. Everyone's a winner, baby. ITV producers get their engagement metrics. The news websites get their clickbait headline. Susanna Reid School's Honest Bob. And the public gets absolutely nothing. We learn zip. 0. We get a good laugh at Honest Bob taking his ball and going home. Some things are priceless. We have turned the political debate in this country into a morning soap opera. It's EastEnders with suits. Will Susanna forgive him? Will Ed Balls intervene? Tune in after this advert for suppositories to find out. Nobody cares about solving problems anymore, even in the so-called debates online. It's all about who got slammed, who got destroyed, who hit back, and who forgot their microphone was still attached to their lapel when they called the host a bloody idiot. And this matters even if Honest Bob managed to make himself look like a prize tool on national TV. Yes, it's great to see Reform UK PLC politicians finally being held to account, but it's all a little bit too late. This should have been happening at least a year ago. Now, where was I before I wandered off tangent just a little? And so, as politicians continue to navigate the choppy waters of morning television, one thing remains clear. The line between political journalism and morning entertainment has never been thinner. Tune in at 8 a.m. tomorrow for your chance to win a Mars bar and some belly button fluff. Folks, if you enjoyed this video, then not only are you lovely people, but you also have great taste, and you should also subscribe to the Two Davies for news and politics from a very Scottish perspective, and that rantastic Mr. McGuinness.